Hey everybody, welcome to your stretch class for today. You won't need any equipment. We're going to be doing a nice full body stretch with a little bit of a bias towards some spinal rotation. So to get started, we're going to start with the heels stacked directly underneath your sit bones, so the bony parts of your bottom. And we're just going to keep the hands at either side of your hips here. And we're just going to drop the rib cage towards the hips, keeping this hand down for now. And then rise all the way back up using your obliques to draw you up from that end range position, drawing down and all the way up. So we're just going to do one more on each side, and then we're going to add an arm reach. So with this exercise, you can push into the hip just slightly to get a little bit of a deeper stretch to the side of the body. And now we're going to bring the top hand over. Feel free to really start to sink and shift. Lengthen through the side as much as you can and draw it all the way back up. Other side. Let's go one more on each side here. And we're going to come down onto our knees when you're ready. Now, if this isn't comfortable for you to sit like this, you can flip over and sit on your bottom. Just do what's suitable for you. And we're going to bring both arms out to the side, and we're going to push the palms away from you with the fingertips pointing up towards the ceiling. So some of you might get a little stretch through the front of the arms here. That's okay if you do feel it. If you don't, that's okay as well. So we're going to add a little twist through the upper body now. We want to try and keep the hips square towards the front. And we're just getting some rotation through your trunk, and add a little pulse on each side. Now you shouldn't be using a heap of momentum to get this range here. It's still controlled. Keep your core nice and active, drawing your rib cage down towards your hips. And let's go for 5 more. 4. And last one. And coming back. So we're going to place the hands on the floor now, and we're just going to keep your knees stacked directly underneath the hips. We're going to extend your right leg away, so it's straight out to the side. Doesn't matter if your foot is pointed or flexed, turned in, turned out, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you feel nice and stable. And now your right leg is extended. We're going to keep the right hand on the floor, and the left hand is going to be threading under. So we're pushing your shoulder as close to the floor as you can. And then we're rising all the way up onto the right hand and reaching the left hand up towards the ceiling. Ooh, got a nice little back crack. And then coming back down, pushing towards the floor and rising it up. Now it doesn't matter how high you can get the hand when you're reaching back behind you. And last one. All the way up. And return it back to the 4-point kneel position. And let's go to the other side. So extending the left leg away. Left hand stays down. The right hand is going to be sinking through our range now. Let's go. Dropping down. Pushing up and away, reaching, and then back through. Keep using your breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And last one. And drawing it all the way back in to our starting position. So we're going to flip over onto the bottom now, and we're just going to get into a couple of rollbacks. So getting the back with the spine nice and warm in our flexion. So you can either hold behind the knees or over the knees, whatever feels good for you. And we're going to create as much of a curve as we can through the spine, so you're essentially slouching into the back. And then we're going to roll off the tailbone. Imagine you're rolling down through each vertebrae all the way up towards the shoulders, and then returning back to the starting position. And let's go for 5 more. 4. So remember, if you can't do a full rock, just stay on the floor and just do some little hip elevations, especially if it aggravates through your tailbone. Okay, and last one, rising it all the way up from there, and then we're going to extend both legs out in front. So we're going to sit up as tall as we can, keeping your core nice and active, and we're going to pull your left knee in towards your chest here, and then we're going to take the left foot over the right leg. So I want you to try and hug the leg in towards the chest as far as you can. Now, I feel this stretch in my glute median minor, so the side of my hip / glutes on the bent side. Okay, if you feel the hamstring more on the bottom leg, that's okay as well. Just keep pulling that knee in towards the chest. Holding it here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So keeping the knee nice and close to our chest. Now we're going to lower the foot back down on the floor if yours is lifted. And then we're going to push the knee forward as the chest comes forward too. So pretty normal for this one to feel like it's more in the hamstring or your lower back, especially on the bottom leg. Okay, so you can point or flex your bottom foot. Keep reaching the chest forward. And holding it here for another 5 seconds. 4 and 1. Coming back up to the square position, we're going to pull this knee back up towards your chest again. And we're taking the opposite hand to the bent leg and wrapping it around the leg. And then you're using that position through the arm to pull yourself through with the chest, creating as much rotation as possible. So I'm going to twist away. And then you're trying to look away from the legs over the shoulder. You can have this hand on the floor, or if you prefer to have it on the hip, you can. Reach as far behind you as you feel comfortable. And we're going to get another static hold here for another 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, relaxing it off. We're going to remove that cross. Have a little shake out with both legs, and we're going to go to the other side. So pulling the knee all the way up and bringing it across, and then we're going to pull the knee in towards our chest and get a nice hold here. This one's quite a long one. We're going to be here for about 20 to 30 seconds. All right, so we want to make sure we're getting something out of this. Keep pulling the heel in towards the leg. Knee as close to your chest as you can. And just use your breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Try and relax the shoulders. And we're holding here for another 10 seconds now. And 1. Okay, now relaxing off with the hands, letting the leg fall down towards the bottom leg, keeping the bottom leg as straight as we can. And we're going to push the tailbone out, bring the belly down towards the legs, and we've got another static hold here. And 1. Okay, rising up, we're going to pull that knee back up, plant the foot on the floor, and let's go opposite arm to the bent leg, twisting around when you're ready, keeping your core active here. Try and relax through the shoulders. and holding for another 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and easing it off. Have a little shake again, and we're going to flip over back into a 4-point kneel. Alrighty, now we're getting into some upper body. You might also feel upper back a little bit rather than just shoulders. See how you go with this one. I have really been liking it. So we're going to bring your hands out in front of you, but we're going to keep the hips elevated for this one. And now you can push back slightly, but we still want to keep the hips away from the heels. And then we're going to thread your left hand through on a diagonal, so it's crossing past the right leg. And then we're pushing down as far as you can with the shoulder. And then the right hand stays up in an overhead position. And then we're going to bring it all the way back and go other side. Right hand threads through past the left leg. And drawing it all the way back. So let's keep moving through this range. Get about like 2 seconds. And then come all the way back to the start. And we have one more. And drawing it all the way in when you're ready. So we're going to stack the hands back underneath the shoulders from here. We're coming into our cat and cow. It's a nice way to kind of warm up in some extension and flexion. Okay, we've already done a bit of flexion today, but we're going to round through the back, pushing the floor away from you, pulling your hips up towards your ribs, and then we're sinking the chest and rib cage through as we push the chin up towards the ceiling, push the tailbone up as well, and then round again. Pushing away and coming through. And through. Now on your next one, we're just going to come down onto the elbows and then extend the legs away from us. So we're laying flat with the hips and the legs. We're up on the elbows here, pushing away from the shoulders. And then we're just going to slide the arms away from you, flattening out through the spine. And then we're going to lift back up again, pushing onto the elbows, and then lower. Okay, so we're just getting nice and active through the posterior chain, so through the spine, glutes and hamstrings, lower and rise. Okay, and now we're going to push up onto the hands if you feel comfortable. Otherwise, stay on the elbows for this next one. Now we're going to keep the feet at the same distance apart, and we're going to twist your hips towards the floor. So twist your left side of your hips down towards the floor as we pull the right hips up. Keep your feet apart as we twist, and then push it all the way back down to the center. And then we're going other side. Twist. You can bend your arms if it feels better for you, and then straighten as you come back to the center. On the elbows, it looks like this. You're twisting and center. Then other side, twist. Alrighty, and then we're going to come back up to that same position again. Alright, and we're going to draw the knees all the way in, pushing back into your child's pose. and rising all the way up. Okay, let's just do a couple of shoulder circles. Doesn't matter what way you go. And reverse. Alright, we're going to come up into a down dog position now. We're going to be stretching through the calf muscles, the hamstrings, your glute med and minor, and your hip flexors and quads. So this next sequence is a great full body kind of stretch. The spine won't get too much of a stretch here, but I think we've done a fair bit on the spine for the moment anyway, so I'm sure it'll appreciate a nice little break. So we're going to start with the hands about shoulder width apart on the floor, and then the feet are going to replicate that distance as well. Tucking the toes under, we're going to push the bottom up towards the ceiling, straightening the legs as much as you can, and then we're going to pull one heel. So let's go with our right side. Pull the right heel in towards your bottom, and then we're going to open up through the hips, so externally rotate, pushing the hips through, lifting the knee up towards the ceiling, and then tap the knees together, and lifting up again, pushing all the way open, and tap it together. Now from here, the leg that's elevated is going to scoop through, turning out into a pigeon pose, and then we're going to sink the hips down, making sure you're not sitting off to one side. Try and be stacked right in the center. Okay, now this might be enough of a stretch for you. If that's the case, please just stay here. Otherwise, we're going to lift and lower the bottom leg, so you can give that a go for a couple. If that doesn't really progress or it's not suitable for you, you can tuck the toes under and straighten the knee, and then you can push the hip down on that side, and this is where you'll really feel your hip flexor. Okay, I definitely feel it. I love this stretch. You can keep sinking through. Use your breath to try and relax off here. And then we're going to bring the leg back to a square position. Tuck the toes under if you haven't already, and we're going to push back into your down dog. Let's just walk through your feet a couple of times, stretching through the calves. Alright, and then pulling the foot back up to the knee. Pulling the foot back up to the hip, knees together. One more time on this side, pushing up and down. Rising up again. And lower. Sweeping it through, coming down. You can flex or point or tuck, whatever you want to do with that back foot. Push the hip down, you can bend and extend, or you can stay still. Can't hold back your light and expect to win. Gotta go harder. Oh, you've gotta learn. Don't suppress your fire, baby, let it burn. Be who you are. And squaring that bottom leg, tuck the toes under, and walking back through your feet. And let's just take a moment to hold both heels down. Lock your knees out, straighten, engaging through the quads. Keep pushing the heels. If you don't get a stretch here, you can come down onto the elbows. Alright, and let's go with the other side. So we're going to bend the heel up, and let's open. And re-square. Open again. And square back up, sweep it through. So if you don't get a stretch in this position, you might need to push the bottom heel a little bit further away from you. I find pigeons, I'm a little bit tight compared to other things here, so I'm really happy with how much of the stretch I'm getting. Now remember, you can either bend and extend, you can tuck the toe under, you can push the hip through. Okay, and we're going to hold it here. Okay, and square the bottom leg back up, tuck the toes, and push all the way back. Let's walk through your feet, alternating each time. Okay, and then we're doing it one more time on this leg. So pull the heel all the way up and open. Close it again. Up and open. Push the hips through. And down. Coming into your pigeon. And sink the hips through towards the floor. They're nice and square. And let's rise it up and lower down. Or you can tuck the toe and push the hips down. And we're going to re-square the leg, push it back, last down dog here. And let's go double leg rise and lower. Rib cage towards your hips. And let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Coming all the way down. Okay, and we're going to flip over onto in our saddle position here. If you can't sit like this, you're going to just bring one leg out in front of you, or you can have one foot tucked, okay? Or if you want to do this one standing, you're more than welcome to. I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. So we're going to get into some ankle stretching here. We're pulling one knee up towards your chest, trying to keep the foot in a nice straight position so we're not pushing the ankle out to the side, and then you're lowering the knee down, and then we'll go other foot, okay? Otherwise, if you're here, you can go pushing the toes forward, and then you can come back, and then you can keep swapping, pushing forward, and then standing, you can tuck the toes under. Okay, do what feels most comfortable in a very uncomfortable position. And we're going to hold it to one side, getting ready now. So we're having a nice 20-second hold here. Keep pulling the knee up, making sure you're getting a nice stretch through the front of the ankle. It's normal to feel this one in the back of the ankle as well. Dropping it down, and 20 seconds on the other side. You don't want to force it too hard though, just be nice and gentle. And 5 seconds, 4, 3, 2, and lowering it down. Okay, just stand up for me and go for a little bit of a walk. Stretch out the legs and the ankles. Have a little shake. Alright, so I want you to stay standing for this next one. Just find something to hold on to so you don't have the balance component in this one also. And we're going to use one leg at a time. We're going into some internal external rotation for the hips. Okay, so the first option, you can keep the foot kind of along the floor and turn in, turn out like this. So imagine that your knee is leading through your range. So the knee drops in and then the knee turns out. All right, and then you can elevate the foot, and then you can bring it up a little bit higher depending on what feels good. Now notice my hips aren't staying square. My arm is swinging in the opposite direction to help me balance here. You just want to kind of ease off through the hip and just let it drop in and out. It should feel really nice. And let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll go straight into the other leg, dropping in and out. That's so nice that it's starting to get a bit warmer. It's much easier, I find, to stretch when we're a little bit warmer naturally. So I'm hoping that of a morning, it's a little bit easier to roll out of bed. It's a great way to start the day. Okay, and then coming back away from the bar. Brent's going to make a guest appearance today. And we're going to go into our plie hip opening work. So I want you to go nice and wide through the feet, turning them out as much as you can, and we're going to lift up through the arches as well. So we're pushing the knees out towards the side, and you can have your hands on the legs here if you want to, otherwise you can work on being active in this position. So we're going to sink it down, and then we're going to twist your shoulders to one side and then rise all the way up, nice and active, squeezing the inner thighs together, and then pushing down and rise. Whoop. Okay, so your option, if you don't want to push into the legs, you can just have them gliding along each time. So active stretching here. Keep twisting, standing up, and twist, and stand. Let's go for 4 more. 3, and last one. All right, and now we're going to shift from one side to the other. So you're just going as low as you can in the squat. Keep pushing your knees to the side. Let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Standing it all the way up, and we're going to turn the legs in parallel. You can keep them quite wide here. We're going to bring both arms up towards the ceiling, and we're going to push the bottom back as we keep the spine nice and flat. Take the hands behind you and try and clasp the hands together as you reach them up towards the ceiling. Dropping the hands back down, reaching the arms all the way out in front of you, and rising back up. And again, pushing forward, reach around, push the hands up, keep your core active, dropping down, and forward, rise. Let's go one more time, reaching forward, wrap around, reach, forward, take the hands to the floor, bend your knees as much as you need, we're squatting anyway, and then stand it up as much as you can. Squat, push the chest through, and rise. Let's go 4 more. 3, and last one. And drawing it all the way in. Okay, have a little shake with your legs again. All right, thank you for joining me today. I hope you feel nice and relaxed and lengthened, especially through your hips and your back. Let me know how you found it, and I'll see you next time.